Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to pop out here on this quick video and go over the bot in from my perspective. So I just want everybody to understand that this is going to be my perspective on how the bot is working, and is it worth the money? Is it worth the money? So with that being said, we're going to get started here in just a minute. I don't even know if it's live in the group or not. Let me know if you can comment below. And if you can actually see the live, because whenever I go to the group, it doesn't actually show me the live, which is kind of hilarious. But either way, I think we'll be rocking it out. Let me just go over there real quick, make sure we are actually live in the group. Okay, it looks like we are live in the group. Awesome. I see you, Nate. What's up, man? So anyway, I just wanted to do this from my perspective because there's a lot of questions. Like I'm scrolling through the group, and there's people asking, I have, a BTC balance in my Binance account where it shows like an estimated value, and then they look in their bot and it shows that, they're using a different, or it's showing that it's using a certain amount of BTC, but then they go over to Binance and it shows the BTC value is less. And then some people are like, well, what the heck? I have one of my trades is Ethereum, and Ethereum's up like 15% or whatever. Why is my bot still negative, right? So there's all these different questions in the group, and I wanted to kind of address that. I wanted to just kind of go through it through my perspective, and you guys are welcome to chime in the comments, ask questions, anything I can clarify. I'd be happy to do that here on this live. But let me show my screen real quick. And I'm going to go through it from my perspective. All right. So 1 second here, make sure we're on my screen. So everybody can see that, right? You guys can see the little whiteboard here. All right. So first of all, let's get a little bit deeper understanding of what the purpose of the bot is, first of all. So number one, if we go over to coin market cap, you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that every single coin has its own value, right? It has a monetary value. It also has, a percentage change in the last 24 hours. Now, there's also spots where you can look at the percentage change over the last week if you individually go into one. Like, for example, Bitcoin, and I go in there, and I think if I scroll down and I click on one 7 day, you can see what happened in the last 7 days as well. Okay, so you can kind of just play around with it, and you can see the different numbers where it was 7 days ago, which was like 8,600, and then what it is today, which is now 11,800. So that's pretty good in 7 days. You guys agree? 8,600, what percentage is that? Can someone do the math for me? I don't think it shows right here. But yeah, you're looking at, 8, 9, 10, 11, $3,000 in the last week. So Bitcoin has gone up $3,000 in the last week. But on the way, you notice that they had these little dips, right? Then there's a little dip there, then there's a little dip there, and then a little dip there, and it just keeps going up, right? The trend is up right now. So that's how you can look kind of what's going on with the coins. And same with Ethereum. Let me just show you how Ethereum has done in the last 7 days. So Ethereum, as you can see, $930. 7 days ago, it was worth $846, right? So you can look at these different numbers. And so it's about $100, a little bit less than $100 more, or a little bit, yes, about $80 more than it was 7 days ago. Okay, so you guys can do the numbers and the math on me if you can in the comments below. But right here in the middle, you'll see that it was all the way up to 974, but it's now down to 930. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that so where you guys can actually look at some of the different currencies and what's going on. And that's all done on Coin Market Cap. So here's how the bot is supposed to work. I want you guys to really understand this. And when you understand how the bot's supposed to work, you'll understand why certain trades are in the negative. You'll understand why certain trades are in the positive. You'll understand why trades close and some don't, and go from there. So here's how it works, okay? So you start off with BTC, okay? That's how you started off with BTC. Then what happens is the bot takes your BTC and buys altcoins based on their algorithm, okay? So if you look at it from like this, hold on. Having a little issue here with my computer. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Got it. All right, so it takes your BTC and buys all coins based on their algorithm. Now, some of you are like, I've actually had some people in the group, they're really negative about, the algorithm. They're like, man, this bot's not very smart, or whatever like excuse that people have, with why it's not working or whatever. But I could promise you this, like if you look at a lot of the trades that it's taking, if you took out Bitcoin, just took it out of the equation. So let's say you started with US dollars and then you bought, let's say, Litecoin, okay? If you took US dollars and you bought Litecoin, here's what would have ended up happening. In the last 7 days, someone would go out there, they'd buy Litecoin based on, let's say right here, this is a perfect example right here, okay? So what was this right here? This was about 2 days ago, right? 19th, so the 19th. So a lot of you, the bot bought Litecoin on the 19th for you, or the 17th, or the 15th, or, if you go all the way back here, you probably had the bot buy some Litecoin back here on the 15th when it was $211 or whatever. And, maybe it bought some right here. Maybe it hit the rock bottom right here. And it's like, okay, let's take a trade and let's buy the coin. Well, here's what ended up happening. Let's say it bought the coin right here. And then the next day, it's like all the way up to $250, and then it sold the coin and you made a profit, right? Or what if, so then let's say it bought another trade when it took this dip right here, right? And then it went back up. So let's say it bought a trade right here on the 20th at 238, and then it's right now at 242, and it's probably not closed yet. So here's what ended up happening. So normally you would look at that like, wow, I'm winning, right? I bought it down here and I sold it up here, or I bought it right here and I sold, and it's like ahead right now. So you're looking at the coin market cap and you're like, wow, I'm winning. But here's what ends up happening. Okay. So based on their algorithm, it bought these coins based on their algorithm, knowing, okay, the coin will most likely go up at this point, and it did, right? But here's where people are not understanding how the bot works. Right now, it's trading between BTC and that coin. Okay, so we'll just use Litecoin, for example. Does that sound good? LTC, BTC and LTC. But just for sake of example purposes, that's how it basically does. It's like it's BTC versus whatever coin it's going after. And the goal is 1% gain, right? 1% gain on your Bitcoin. Does that make sense? So I'm glad Nate brings this up. Why doesn't the bot buy at the exact bottom and always sell at the exact top? That's funny. But it does. Like if you really think about it, like if you look at it, a lot of the times it's buying all in this zone right here and selling when it's up here because it beats Bitcoin at that point. But what if it doesn't beat Bitcoin? So I want you guys to really understand this. So quick question. And let's get some interaction going here so you guys can understand it, because I think you guys will understand it better if you answer these questions. What if the bot bought you Litecoin at 222, and right now your Litecoin is worth 244, but it's still in the negative compared to Bitcoin? Are you winning or losing at the moment? Just want a real quick reality check here. So let's say it bought the coin at 222 and the coin is worth 242 at the moment, but it's still negative on the bot. What does that mean? And are you winning or are you losing? And there's two different perspectives here I want to throw out there. And you guys are going to really, I think you'll understand it a lot better if you guys can answer those questions. So here's an example, just to throw it on the screen. So let's say it bought LTC at 222 and it's worth 245 right now. Okay. Are you winning or are you losing? Like from a monetary standpoint, are you winning or are you losing right now? Just looking at it like that, you bought LTC at 222 and it's worth 245 at the moment. Are you winning or are you losing? Technically, you are winning. Now, compared to Bitcoin, you could be losing. Okay? Let me explain that here in just a minute. Make sure you're leaving your feedback below and actually going through these questions, because this is how you're going to actually understand it. Okay? So compared to Bitcoin, you could be losing. Why? Because Bitcoin went up by $2,000. You see what I'm saying? In the last, I don't know, let's look. So right now, Litecoin went up since the 19th. It went up, $20. So comparatively, what's $20? 245. So we're looking at like 8% gain for Litecoin, right? In the last few days. But then if you look on Bitcoin, so let's go back over to Bitcoin in the last couple days, you could be losing, right? So for example, we'll go back 7-day marker. Okay. So the last 2 days, if we go back to the 19th, let's just go to the beginning of the 19th. So we're looking at $1,000 about, so we've gained about $1,000. So $1,000 is quite a bit when compared to when it's at 11,900 right now, or 11,800. We're looking at like 9%. So in reality, like 9 or 10%. Okay. So here's what happened. So LTC went up 8%. BTC went up 9%. But you guys get what happened here. So even though you are winning, you are losing compared to Bitcoin, which means you are not, like this would have had to been 10% for it to close. So does everybody get that? So like if LTC went up 10% and Bitcoin went up 9%, you see how it would close at a 1% gain? That is when the bot will close, when it is ahead of Bitcoin. Not when it's behind Bitcoin, when it's ahead of Bitcoin. So I want everybody to really understand that the bot is going against Bitcoin. That's what it's doing. That's what it's basing the 1% returns on. So even though, so I want you guys all to get this. even though it is winning by 8% gain, right? Even though it is winning by 8% gain, it could be now losing another minus 1% behind Bitcoin. Okay? So, with that being said, I want you guys to really start to like maybe change your thought process just a little bit, because check this out. If you're a manual trader, let's say you're out there trading and you're doing this all on your own, and you're like, okay, well, I could just go buy Litecoin, I can go buy Ethereum, I can go buy, let's just go back to CoinMarketCap. I can go buy all these different currencies on my own and just hold them long term. That's fine. I can do that on my own. Like I can go buy Ripple. I could go buy Bitcoin Cash. I can go buy Litecoin. You can go buy all this stuff on your own. Trust me, you could do it. Okay. You can buy Stellar on your own. You can buy Monero on your own. You can buy all these different coins on your own. But check this out. Here's what ends up happening. Have you ever bought a coin and then it went up in value by like for example, let's say you bought Monero at $200, right? And now it's $300. And would you be celebrating? Would you be like jumping up and down for joy right now if that happened? Right? Like think about it. If you bought Monero at $200 and it went up to $318, would you be jumping up and down with joy? Like, yay, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. But here's what ends up happening. People don't realize that, yeah, it may have gone up $100, right? So you gained 30% on your money, right? Yeah, you may have gained $100 on your Monero, and you're up and down and shouting for joy, but there's no software telling you that that's actually a loss, because then if you go look at Bitcoin and it's gone from 6 to 11, what return is that? So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's $5,000 divided by 11,000. Or wait, hold on. 5,000 divided by 11,000. Sorry, I'm just trying to do the math over here. So Bitcoin goes up 45%. Monero goes up 33%. And you're jumping up and down for joy because why? You won, right? You are winning, but you are not winning compared to Bitcoin. And that happens all the time in the trading world, but nobody ever knows this because they just look at the monetary numbers. They just look at, okay, I bought Monero at 200, now it's worth 300, but they don't realize if they would have just left it in Bitcoin, you would have more Bitcoin. I mean, you would actually have more value gain in this scenario. Okay, so I wanted to just point that out. In this scenario, you would have a bigger value gain. Okay, but nobody ever sees that in the real trading world because nobody compares it to Bitcoin for some reason. I don't know why, but in the bot, it does compare it to Bitcoin. Okay, so that is why it's looking like, and I just want you guys to realize this, it's looking like you're at a loss right now. And this is why this is a bad way to look at trading, is if you ever are in the positive, like for example, this Litecoin example, if your bot took a Litecoin trade yesterday, you made 4% today. Does that make sense? So like, for example, if yesterday your bot purchased Litecoin, you made a 4% return. You see how, do you guys see how that happened? Because Litecoin went up 4% more than Bitcoin. And let me just do this right here. If you have red coin in your bot right now, you just made 36% return. If you have this in your, then you just made 14%. Bitcoin, or 9%. See, Dogecoin, this one right here, you made about 6% if you had this in your bot yesterday. That is how this is working, guys. So Bitcoin is right here. So right here, everything under this right here is a losing trade at the moment. So for example, you know, a lot of you have Monero in your bot. Well, Monero would be down 4% more today. Even though it is ahead, it's up from what it was yesterday, it's down 4%. Cardano is down. All these other ones are down, like EOS down. Like so Dash down. So anything under Bitcoin on the last 24-hour chart, if the trades took yesterday and it's under Bitcoin right now, that means Bitcoin is winning against those other bots or other trades. So even if the algorithm said, okay, Andor is turning around tomorrow or today, and it's time to take the trade, and it bought the trade yesterday, and yes, it turned around and it's up 5% today, it's still considered a negative to the bot. Why? Because Bitcoin's up 1% more. Do you guys see that? So just because Bitcoin is winning doesn't mean you are necessarily losing. Okay? So I want you guys to really get that. And there's two thought processes behind this. And number one, if you want to just, you know, and don't get me wrong, our goal here is to multiply Bitcoin. Is that all your guys' goal as well? Like, who in here is around to multiply your Bitcoin? You know, like that's my number one goal, obviously, is to multiply my Bitcoin. So that's what we want. That's the goal. So one thing to really think about here. So yeah, so Kirk is saying, wouldn't that still be in a loss even if the LTC went up 9% and BTC 8%? Because BTC is worth so much more. No, it wouldn't. Because if it's up 1% above, like it goes up 1% more than Bitcoin, then it will close in a 1% trade. Because these are just micro trades, Kurt. It's not based on the monetary value of the coin. It's based on the sell and the buy price. So if Litecoin goes up at a higher percentage rate than Bitcoin, it will close in a positive for you. Okay? So anyway, let's keep moving on. And let's kind of go through a different perspective. Okay. So with that being said, are we losing? We're not losing on a monetary level. So I want you guys to just start thinking of this as a long-term thing, because here's the thing. Will Bitcoin get to the point where it's not winning? Do you guys believe that? Like, think about it. Like, from a logical standpoint. In the last 8 months, so just the last 8 months alone, since I've been, you know, really diving deep into this whole Bitcoin world, I have seen Bitcoin crash multiple times. How many times has it crashed for you guys? Right? I don't know, like maybe you guys just got started or whatever, that's fine. But how many times has it crashed? It's crashed a ton. How many times have I seen Ethereum go up faster than Bitcoin? How many times have I seen Bitcoin Cash go up faster than Bitcoin? How many times have I seen Litecoin, Cardano? You know, EOS for the longest time there was like plus 10% above Bitcoin, like almost on a day-to-day basis, it seemed like. So there's a whole bunch of times in the last 8 months alone where I've seen all these different altcoins beat Bitcoin all the time. It happens all the time. So I want you guys to really get this and realize this. It happens all the time, right? And if I log in, and again, I don't want to show the back office because then I have to take the video down because, you know, it's out of compliance or whatever. But I will show one spot in the back office. And again, this is for training purposes. This is just to team members. So this is not for prospecting. All those disclaimers, right? Okay, so if you look at my bot here, you're going to get to a point. So I want you guys to realize this. You're going to get to a point where you start racking up completed orders. So like a lot of you probably don't see this the same, right? You guys, like on your bots, you're probably looking at it and you're like, you know, I have 400, or maybe you have like 100 open orders, or maybe you have like 12 open orders and like 12 closed orders, right? Well, from that perspective, you are probably at a loss. And why is that? Why would you be at a loss in that point? Well, because you have more open orders than you have closed. When you start seeing the numbers like this, where you have a ton more closed than open, that's when you start to really see profits coming through. So, well, why do I want to show you this screen at least this one screen right here? I want to show you this screen because I want you to realize that 3,197 times altcoins beat Bitcoin in the last month that I've been using the bot. Out of 3,685, 3,197 different times the altcoins beat Bitcoin. Does that make sense? That's how many times it happened. At least 1% or more. That's how many times it happened. So for us to be saying that it doesn't happen or it's not going to happen, it's kind of naive. And we shouldn't be thinking that way, because it does happen, period. Like it just happens. Altcoins beat Bitcoin on certain days. And that's why we use trading bots. That's why we have trading even going on. But I want to also just throw out this one perspective, okay? So for right now, a lot of you are in the negative when it comes to like, so you're logging into your Bittrex account and you're looking at this. Like even my Bittrex account, like I'll be honest with you, like let me refresh it. This Bittrex account, like I put 1 Bitcoin in here and its estimated value is 0.97, right? So if you look at it like that, I'm down what, 0.25 it looks like? 0.025. Yeah, that's about what I am, right? So if we go over here, all right, so hold on, 0.025. So it looks like I'm down, I don't know, about $294 or so worth of Bitcoin, I would say, like in my Bittrex account. So I can look at this like, oh man, the bot's not working, crap, you know, it's the end of the world or whatever. But you know what's funny is even though I am down 0.25 or 0.025 in my Bittrex account, this monetary dollar amount is higher. And why is that? Well, it's because all these coins are worth more money now. Like, so like Bitcoin Gold, like Zcash, it's like Zcash is up $100 than it was like last month, I think. You know, Bitcoin's up, Bitcoin Cash is up, Ripple is up, Dash is up. Like if you look at coin market cap, just in general, like this was down to, you guys remember that? It was down to 300 million. Okay. Or billion, sorry. 300 billion, 300 and something billion. It's literally gone up just in the last couple weeks, over $200 billion in market cap for the entire market. So yes, I get it. We want to multiply our Bitcoin, but here's the thing. I am up overall. Overall, I am way, 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 way up, because my 1 Bitcoin that was in there when I put it in there was only worth like 9 grand. But now my 0.97 Bitcoin that's in there is worth $11,400. So for me to go around complaining, like, why would I complain about that? Like, my account is worth like $2,000 more right now overall, you know? So it's kind of funny that sometimes we can look at this as like, we can look at the negatives and things, but then here's the cool thing. I still have, and this is, I think Mike Klingler did a really good video on this, or was it just a post? I don't remember. I think it was a video. I still have 488 open orders that will eventually close and turn over into this yellow spot. Like these will eventually close in a profit. Does that make sense? Like eventually, that's the way the bot works. When Bitcoin takes a dive, like so for example, Bitcoin will eventually hit a wall. It's never kept going up ever. Like I remember there was some experts that were saying, you know, like when Bitcoin was 19K, there was a lot of experts saying, oh, wow, I think it's going to hit 50,000 or maybe it's going to even hit 25K before the end of the year. Lots of experts said that. But guess what happened? Instead of it hitting 25K, 50K, it went down to 6,000, right? So people lost like 300% if they went and bought Bitcoin at 19,000 and sold it. Now, if they didn't sell it, guess what? They didn't lose. So right now, I want you guys to really look at this as a different perspective. Right now, these 488 open orders, those are all negative orders, like because they're not closed yet. They're not 1% gain yet. So they're open. That means they're altcoins trading on the market right now. They're most likely in a negative position versus Bitcoin, but they will eventually close in the green if you let them go. Does that make sense? Like if you just let it go, let the bot do its thing, let it find when it's a 1% above Bitcoin and let it sell. And when they get to that point, this value will go up. Make sense? Like it will eventually turn around as those trades close. All that means right now is these coins that I have in my account, Dash, Lumen, Ethereum Classic, Zcash, Zcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash. That's just all that means is all these coins combined is worth about this much Bitcoin if I were to sell them all today. Does that make sense? If I were to sell them all today, that's how much Bitcoin I would have. And this is how much money, monetary value of those coins are worth compared to the US dollar at the moment. If I were to sell all of them right now, what if I don't sell them? What if I wait for the bot to complete its course and then Bitcoin Cash, let's just go over here. Let's say Bitcoin Cash takes a run tomorrow, right? So right here, right now it's negative 1%. But what if tomorrow it's like 10%, like Litecoin is today? Right? So what if tomorrow it's 10% and Bitcoin is like nothing, 0%? Well, now a lot of our Bitcoin Cash trades will start closing, and then this number will go up. You see that? That's what will happen. As Bitcoin Cash goes up in value and it finally surpasses Bitcoin's value, then it will close the trade, and then my estimated value of BTC will be higher, which will then in turn make this higher. Okay? So that is one perspective to look at it. And I want to go a little bit deeper here for you guys. So some of you might be looking at, well, is it worth the $2,000 I spent on the bot? Like I could have just went and bought Bitcoin Cash on my own, right? Or I could have just went and bought Dash and waited till it went up. But here's the thing. Like, unless you have some kind of like software or some kind of chart to compare it to Bitcoin, you know how hard it is to keep track of when you bought it compared to Bitcoin? Like, for example, someone made a comment the other day. They were like, Ethereum's up 15%, yet my bot is in a negative. Well, guess what, guys? Yeah, Ethereum's up 15%. Based on whatever days he was doing it. But he didn't compare that to how high Bitcoin went up. And nobody ever does that. Like if you're trading on your own, how many people actually compare it to Bitcoin? Like, and do you have a software to do that? Like from the day you bought it to compare the percentage returns based on Bitcoin? Nobody really ever does that. They just buy Ethereum and then they're like happy when it goes up $100. But then if Bitcoin goes up $1,000, it's like the same return, right? So it's kind of funny how that works. So Ethereum will go up $100, but then Bitcoin goes up 2,000, and they're still happy that Ethereum went up. And you should be. That's the way it should be. Like, we should all be happy when Ethereum goes up and we own Ethereum. But if Bitcoin goes up more than Ethereum, then technically you should have just left it in Bitcoin, right? But that's like one of those things. It's like shoulda, coulda, woulda, like who has a crystal ball? Like, I know there's some people out there that are like, well, we should have just left all of our money in Bitcoin this last couple weeks. Yeah, maybe you should have. Well, I guarantee you wished you would have bought this bot back in December when Bitcoin was 19,000, because all the different altcoins probably beat Bitcoin at that point when Bitcoin took that dramatic crash. Now, I get it. Every coin took a crash in December. But you guys get my point, though? Like, we don't have a crystal ball. Bitcoin went from 19K to 6,000. Okay, 19K to 6,000. Who's to say it's not going to go down to 9 tomorrow? You know what I mean? We don't really know what's going to happen. I do know all the experts say it's going to continue to rise. That's all we know. But then I also see all the experts saying that all the other altcoins, all these top like Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Stellar, EOS, Dash, Monero, I've heard them that they're also going to be going up as well. Has anyone else heard that from experts? They don't just say Bitcoin's going up. They say all of these coins are going up. Okay? They say all of the coins are going up. So anyway, let me take it a little deeper for you guys. And if you guys have questions on how it works, I can go deeper for you. But I want to throw this out there. Is it worth the $2,000? Is the bot worth it? You could do this stuff on your own. You can trade on your own. I could tell you right now that if I had to trade on my own, I wouldn't. I would just hold BTC because I don't really understand trading. I'll just be completely transparent with you. If I were doing trading on my own, I probably would own like the top 5 coins like Ethereum, so ETH, Dash, maybe LTC, Zcash, and Monero, right? Like those would be the only coins that I buy, like if I were trading on my own, because I have no idea when to sell. I don't know, have no idea. Like if I were to go buy another coin, like when should I sell it compared to Bitcoin? How long should I hold it? I would have no clue on that. So trading would not be for me. Like my strategy would be literally buy Ethereum, Dash, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and hold it forever, right? And basically just let it go up in value over time. Bitcoin would probably beat me, maybe 50% of the time. And then Ethereum and all these other ones might beat Bitcoin a lot of the time too, but I wouldn't know that. So I wouldn't know when to trade it back. You know what I mean? Like that's just not the way that I would do it. I would just hold the coins and be on my way, right? Like that would literally be my trading style. So to me, that's kind of boring. There's no real, risk reward. And I always look at this. So I have OX as well, OX. So anyway, let me show you this though. Investing. I look at risk versus reward. Okay? Does anyone else do that, or am I the only one that does that? I mean, I look at risk versus reward. Anytime I'm investing, I look at risk versus reward. And if the risk versus the reward is good enough for me, I take the investment. Does that make sense? If the risk versus the reward is good enough for me and my understanding, I take the investment and I do it. And I look at a lot of different things out there online, like in the crypto space. And there's a lot of things. Trust me. There's mining companies, there's trading companies, There's, what are those lending companies, right? And there's a whole bunch of things out there. But check this out. The risk, so I'll talk about the risk versus reward for CWE here in a minute. But what are the risk versus reward on those other things out there? So like there's some companies out there that I have literally seen people drop, $100K, and then company goes out of business, right? So I've seen people drop 100K in some of these other companies and the company goes out of business. So what was the risk versus reward of that company? The risk was company could take all your money, right, and run. So the risk for those other companies is they go out of business and you lose everything. Okay, so typically you can only put, like in those other companies that I've seen out in the crypto space, what is your risk versus reward? Well, you can only risk what you're willing to lose. Do you guys agree with that? Let me know in the comments. Like, you only want to risk what you're willing to lose, because those companies, if they go out of business, they're gone and your money is gone, completely gone, no reward, right? But then the reward is what? They usually offer you some kind of guarantee return or some kind of daily percentage return or whatever, right? And that's the reward. Okay, so your risk versus reward in other companies that I've seen out there is literally you could lose everything, right? You could lose everything. Whereas with CWE, check this out. The risk here is your exchange account. Okay, so that's one. That's one risk. So you got to protect that, by the way. So, I'm actually spreading my risk between all three exchanges, just to be a heads up. I got all three working. I've got Binance, Bittrex, and Hit BTC all running right now. Okay, so I spread out my risk between the three different exchanges. So that's just me personally. You can have them all in one exchange if you want, but I just know the way, like I've seen horror stories of exchanges going down or, whatever in the past, like with that Mt. Gox exchange in the past, right? They took millions of dollars or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Binance, Bittrex, or Hit BTC, but I'm just saying that's one risk. Okay, so one risk is your exchange account. Okay, the next risk, risk number 2 is you might get stuck with high quality altcoins instead of your BTC. And that are the only two risks I see with this bot. Okay? Those are the two risks I see with this bot. Risk number 1 is your exchange account. Like, it could get hacked or something, make sure you're make sure you bookmark the page, don't just go to it from an email or whatever, bookmark the page, make sure it's the right website, protect your exchange account, because that is one risk that you have here. Putting Bitcoin and altcoins in an exchange could get hacked, and you don't want that to ever happen, right? So that is one risk. The second risk is you might get stuck with high quality altcoins instead of your BTC. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about basically. Now, to me, here's what happens in that scenario. Let's say this second risk happens. Okay. You get stuck with high quality altcoins instead of your BTC. Well, am I really losing that much? Think about it. Let's say right now, the bot just doesn't ever work, and I'm just stuck with all these horrible altcoins. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm stuck with Zcash. I'm stuck with Bitcoin Cash. I'm stuck with Ripple. The bot breaks. The company goes out of business or whatever. And I'm stuck with all of these altcoins in my Bittrex account. Is that really the end of the world? Like, I could just go in and sell all these altcoins and I'd have $11,400 right now. Just throw it back in my Trezor wallet. Off I go. That was my risk. Right? That to me is a risk I'm willing to take. Because the reward, on the other hand, the reward for CWE, we multiply our BTC. Right? That's the reward. So we have that opportunity to multiply our BTC, and our risk versus reward is very, very good, in my opinion. I mean, who else agrees with that? Like, think about that. When you really think about this from even just a promoting standpoint, like you're promoting this to team members and, you know, you're recommending this as a business opportunity or whatever, and you look at this compared to other things out there, I'm like, man, the worst that could happen to someone is they get stuck with high quality altcoins, as long as they're protecting their account, you know, make sure they're, you know, doing two-step verification, they're going to the right website, you know, don't risk your exchange account. But as long as you are, you know, doing the right security, and the worst that could literally happen is you're stuck with high quality altcoins that are worth something. So I want you guys to really get this. These altcoins have a monetary value. So it's not like you're losing any money if you're stuck with these coins. It's not like, you know, you're trading it for US dollars or something and US dollar crashes or anything. No, all these altcoins, and like, for example, I've known stocks, like, have you guys ever heard these stock market things where you join and they spread all these stock market, like you buy into the stock market and then all of a sudden you lose all your money, like all these different companies go out of business, right? And you lose all your money. Now, I have only seen, at least in my limited time online, at least as far as I've been doing cryptocurrency, I've only seen one coin crash, like, by, you know, hundreds of %. And it was a coin that was based off of a network marketing company that scammed everybody and went out of business. Right? Like, that was the only coin that I've seen crash in the top 30. Literally. Like, out of the top 30 coins, I've only seen one crash completely to like almost nothing. And the funny thing about that is that coin is still worth something right now. like some people, like some coins crash and they go like all the way, like they don't, you know, they just stay there and they continue to move up and move forward. But even the scam coin, the coin that went out of business, it still has a value, which is just hilarious to me. You would honestly think that coin would be worth nothing at the moment. But even that one coin, it didn't go to nothing. So I actually had someone ask that question in the group. They're like, can we lose all our money with this? I'll let you decide that on your own. But in my personal opinion, you can't lose all your money in this. Because why? Because it's buying altcoins. Like, that's what the bot is doing. It's buying altcoins. Does that make sense? So unless the altcoin goes to $0 worth on CoinMarketCap, so unless Ethereum hits $0, you're not going to lose all your money. Does that make sense? Or if Bitcoin Cash goes to 0, or if Litecoin goes to 0, right? Or if Cardano goes to 0, or if Neo goes to 0, right? that's the only way you lose all of your money is if these coins go to zero. So anyone in here think that the coins are going to zero, or are you guys pretty optimistic like I am? Like the whole market's going to go up? I think, in fact, because, Bitcoin has some pretty big competition now, I think the entire market will go up. The entire market. So really, when I look at this risk versus reward, guys, like this is huge. I've never seen this kind of risk versus reward on anything that I have promoted in the crypto space, or I've actually seen in the crypto space. Because everything I've seen in the crypto space, the risk is the company can go out of business and you lose everything. The reward is you make a lot of money, right? That's how it is in every other crypto company that we can promote. Whereas here, the risk is you might get stuck with high quality altcoins instead of BTC. That's it. To me, that is a pretty dang good risk versus reward. What do you guys think? Like, I don't know about you guys, but that's a pretty dang good risk versus reward, because the reward is we make a lot of money as well. Like, bottom line is this will make us good money. That's our reward, as well as multiplying our Bitcoin over time as trades start to close, right? So I'm willing to risk that. I'm willing to risk, because I have really good security on my exchanges. I spread it out over all 3 exchanges that were available right now. So I have a bot going on Binance, I have a bot going on Bittrex, and I have a bot going on HitBTC. So I've spread out my risk on the exchange accounts. And I'm also spreading out my risk on the altcoins by, check this out, you could choose the coins that you buy. You guys realize that? You can choose the coins you buy. So you can actually come in here and you can be like, I want my bot to trade only Ethereum and like 15 of your top favorite coins that you would like to hold. And that is literally your risk, right? So I just want to do that for quick perspective. Any questions that you guys have? I know that there was a ton of questions in the group, and I wanted to just come out here, kind of do my perspective on everything. I personally believe over time, the bot will win against Bitcoin, and we will continue to multiply our Bitcoin. And that is why I'm in it. That's why I believe the reward will happen here. And some people might not believe it. And if you wanted to, you can stop the bot and you can wait till Bitcoin's, does its thing and does its run or whatever. And when you see it going back down, you can turn the bot back on. It's up to you, like how you do your thing. But I'm letting you guys know, I'm just letting it go. I'm not worried about it. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when Bitcoin's going to dip. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's some algorithms or whatever that you can go look up, and you can become like this amazing trader on your own if you'd like. But here's what I am personally doing. Okay. Here's what I'm personally doing, and you guys can follow suit, or you can do your own thing, whatever you guys want to do. I set aside a certain amount of BTC to trade with. Okay? And here's the thing. If you don't want to use your Bitcoin for this, guess what you can do? You can go buy Bitcoin with dollars right now and use your dollars. So like, for example, if you want, you can take 10,000 fiat dollars right now out of your personal bank account. Okay. You can go buy Bitcoin at current market value with your 10,000 fiat dollars and throw that Bitcoin into your Bittrex account or your Binance account and use your fiat money to trade. Obviously, it's still Bitcoin, but it's not your Bitcoin that you currently have right now. Does that make sense, everybody? You can go buy $10,000 worth of BTC right now at current market value and use your current market value US dollars to trade. Okay. Like, don't act like you have like Bitcoin is like that scarce. You could buy Bitcoin at current market value. Everyone in here can. So if you'd rather use fiat money for your trading and hold on to your BTC that you currently have right now, then do it. You guys realize I don't have all of my Bitcoin trading right now. I don't. I have a certain amount of my BTC. I have exactly, to be exact, I have 6 BTC trading. And I spread them out over the 3 exchanges. So I put 3 BTC in Binance. I have 1 in Bittrex and 2 in HitBTC. And that is how I spread out my. Now I probably could have done a little bit better and did like 2 in Binance and 2 in Bittrex and 2 in HitBTC, but I already had the 3 going in Binance, so I just left it. And Bittrex didn't let me choose the coin, so I just did 1 there. And I think they actually switched it to where you can choose the coins now, so I'm not 100% sure. But you guys can go look. Session expired. I can go look. But yeah, I think you can, if someone can confirm that. But yeah, so I just spread out my 6 BTC trading over all 3 different exchanges. I let it go, and I'm just going to let it go until it's, risk versus reward. The worst that can happen is I'm stuck with 6 BTC of high quality altcoins. And that's literally the worst that could happen. Okay. That's the worst that can happen, is I'm stuck with 6 Bitcoin worth of altcoins. Anyone in here, just curious, go ahead and comment below. Does anyone in here own 1 Bitcoin or more worth of altcoins right now already? Or maybe 6 Bitcoin or more? Just curious, like, does anyone? Like, am I the only one that would be okay with 6 Bitcoin put into different altcoins? I'm pretty sure that we have, like, maybe even people that are not even on this live right now. I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of people who already own that much altcoins anyway, right? So that's not the worst thing that can happen. Like, literally, like, if that's the worst that can happen, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Victor, Jason, awesome, Chris. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And then as far as, is this bot worth it? Well, I believe it's going to make way more than $2,000 personally in a year's time. Even with Bitcoin, I really do believe that. Like, think about it. Like, even if, like, think about it. Like, let's say Bitcoin goes up. Well, what's $2,000? Is that what? 0.1? No, 0.18 or 1775. There we go. Do I believe I will gain 0.175 over a year worth of Bitcoin trading 6 Bitcoin right now? You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous to even think about. Yes. Now, obviously, I spent more on mine because I have more bots. I have like 4 bots, I believe. So I have to make about 8,000, I think, for mine. So that would be about 0.7, 0.65. There we go. So personally, I have to make a little over half a Bitcoin. So 0.685 Bitcoin for me to be in profit this year. I am pretty dang optimistic I'm going to make that or more. Okay. Am I guaranteed that I'm going to make that or more? No, obviously I'm not guaranteed that I'll make that or more. But again, I look at risk versus reward, and I'm happy with the way that it's going so far. You know, like even just from a standpoint of, like, think about it, guys. Like my altcoins right now are worth $11,397. Just the altcoins that it bought me. This is not Bitcoin. I want you guys to realize that this is not Bitcoin. Like this value right here, that is not Bitcoin. This is just an estimated value. This is what my altcoins are worth at the moment. They originally were only worth about $9K. So now I have about $11,300 worth of altcoins. Whether or not it's beating Bitcoin or not, I am still ahead. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. You know, now it would be kind of a bit different situation if I had less Bitcoin value plus less dollar value, you know, everything all around. Like then that might be a little bit disappointing or whatever. But overall, we are winning. When the whole Bitcoin market goes up, like the whole crypto market goes up, we are winning. Okay? We are all winning. All right, so let me see if I can show my... There we go. Now you guys can see me again, right? I forgot to turn my camera back on. All right, anyway, so with that being said, I hope you got a better understanding of it. I believe that, you know, the bot is worth 2K, you know, per 10,000 we can trade. I believe it's worth that much. I look at, you know, whenever I'm promoting a business opportunity, at least from some of the things that I've been in the past, that, you know, I now look at it. I look at the overall picture and I look at risk versus reward on something that we can promote. And even if you don't promote this, even if all you do is use the bot and you're just looking for something to multiply your Bitcoin, or at least even, you know, like I said, at the worst case, give you a good portfolio of good quality altcoins. Just so you guys know, when the market was crashing, which happened literally a couple of weeks ago, do you guys remember that? Where it was like a bloodbath, like literally the entire market was down, right? Bitcoin went from like 12,000 to like 6,000. And like all these different coins just kept on going down. Everything was going down. I was looking at my bot, and my bot was like minus 3%, minus 5% the whole time on a lot of the different trades. So to me, I was like, man, Bitcoin went down like 50%, and my bot was like just kind of maintaining. So it almost hedged against all those losses that Bitcoin had. So when Bitcoin's not doing very well, this bot is hedging your losses with other altcoins. Does that make sense? So when the market tanks for Bitcoin, you are like hedged. It's like having like a mutual fund. You know, like I don't know if you've ever had mutual funds before where, you know, if one company goes out of business, it's okay because you have like money in all like 15 different things. Same thing here. If one coin tanks, you've got money spread out. It's not just stuck in one thing. Like, so like, for example, if we just left all of our money in Bitcoin forever, we're going to see it go from 12 to 6, up back to 50, down to like 20. It always has a correction. Have you guys noticed that? Like every single time Bitcoin took off, there always was a correction. Always. And the correction is where our bot will close trades. You see what I'm saying? The correction is where the bot will close most of the trades. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to this long term. I do think the bot has trading signals, but the trading signals are based on the coin itself. Does that make sense? So if it looks at Ethereum and it says, okay, Ethereum is probably going to start moving back up, and it buys the coin and it moves back up, that means the bot did its job, but it can't tell if Bitcoin is going to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So we can't really judge it based on that. If Bitcoin goes up and Ethereum goes up at the same time, it's a wash, but you are still ahead monetarily. So stop looking at that as a loss. I look at it as a gain. I think, honestly, overall, I'm happy with whatever result it gets me. If it gets me a gain, I'm happy if it gets me a gain. If it multiplies my Bitcoin, I'm happy that it multiplies my Bitcoin. If it just is worth more at the end of the day, then I'm happy that it's worth more at the end of the day. But either way, the other option is we have to learn how to trade on our own. And most likely you will be failing at that, because here's what I see other people doing. Last comment on this. People who trade on their own, they buy these coins and then they're like, Litecoin's up 10%. I'm winning. Right? Or, yes, Monero's up 1%. I made 1% of my money. But they don't realize if Bitcoin goes up higher than that, they actually are not winning. They should have left it in Bitcoin. Again, it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But when people trade on their own, they think they're winning when Monero goes up, or when Ethereum Classic goes up, or when VeChain goes up, and they actually are not winning. And then I've seen people do this. They'll be like, Litecoin's up 10%. I'm going to hurry and sell it now. And they sell it for Bitcoin at a loss because they bought it, when Bitcoin was like a lower amount or whatever. So basically Bitcoin could have outdone Litecoin over the last 10 days. And people would look at it today and be like, all right, Litecoin's up. Let's hurry and sell it back to Bitcoin. And then they take a loss. Fortunately for you, you have a trading bot that shows you if it's a loss or not. You know what I mean? Like, we know if it's a loss or not. Like, if you look at your trades right now and you see Litecoin in there and it's at a -% in there, then that means it is not the time to sell it right now. But most people would sell Litecoin right now back for Bitcoin, thinking that they're in a gain. And they're doing it too soon. So I'm actually very grateful for the bot that tells me, hey, Litecoin's still down, right? Don't sell yet. And it does it for me. It sells when it's up above Bitcoin. That's when the bot sells. And that's what we want it to do. You want it to buy and sell based on when it bought Bitcoin at the different price. And if Bitcoin goes up and Litecoin goes up, it wants it to keep going until it goes like that, and then it sells. That's what you want to do. And we have a software that keeps track of that for us. So we should be thankful for that. Is that worth $2K to me? It actually is worth $2K to me to even just know when I should buy and sell. Like, if I wanted to do the hybrid method and just do my own coins, that would be amazing. I'll know when to sell. Like, I think did you guys look in your back office? Like, you could actually set what percentage gain you wanted to sell. So those of you who may be a little bit more sophisticated, maybe you want a little bit more, control, go set up a hybrid, guys. Go set up a hybrid. Select a coin. Be like, hey, I want to buy, I think Cardano is going to go up. And if you're like a good trader on your own, then use the software. Use this to your advantage. Get your money's worth. You know what I'm saying? You paid $2K for this bot. Get your money's worth. Set your stop loss. Put how much BTC you want to invest. And then when do you want the profit to lock in? Do you want it to lock in at a 3% gain, a 1% gain, a 20% gain, a 10% gain? When do you want the bot to close? And then you can set that right there. Boom. So if you want to make a 3% return on your money, it will know when to sell the trade. You don't have to figure that out. Like, that right there is worth money to me. Like, just this one little tiny feature right there. Anybody who's a manual trader, you no longer have to like figure it out on a piece of paper or like an Excel sheet. You could literally just let the bot do it. You choose the parameters, let it go. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully that was valuable for your time. Appreciate all of you who pop in here and who are positive in the groups. I just want to keep the perspectives high. One of the things Mike Klingler said that I really agree with is, if you do see some kind of negative, let's say if you see a negative in the situation, always look for the positive in the situation as well and mention that. So like when you post that your bot is down, maybe just take a moment and be like, is this really a negative? And look for a positive in the situation. And I guarantee you'll find a positive, like in every situation. Like, for example, this Bitrix thing. All right, I might be down 0.7 or 0.25 or whatever. But the positive in the situation is I'm up a couple thousand in monetary dollars from a couple days ago or from a few days ago, right? That's one positive in it. Another positive would be I own all these high quality altcoins that will go up in value over time. That's another positive. And at the end of the day, if you want to hoard your precious BTC, right, have both. Like again, I have 6 Bitcoin trading, but then I also have Bitcoin sitting in my Trezor wallet. I have Bitcoin in other wallets, right? I don't trade all of my Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin just sitting there going up in value, right? So have a portfolio, have a set amount of Bitcoin that you're holding and have a set amount of Bitcoin that you're trading. And if you don't want to use your Bitcoin for trading, take your dollars out of your bank account, go buy new Bitcoin and use the new Bitcoin for trading. Does that sound good to everybody? And then no matter what happens, you're good. You have all your Bitcoin that you had before sitting there gaining value. And now you have Bitcoin that you're, I guess you could say, risking. But in my opinion, it's not risking because I'm buying other assets. Like it would be risking. Like to me, last point, and I'll take off my screen real quick. So my last point here, to me, a risk is if you're not trading one asset for another. Like that's to me a risk. Like for example, if I give a company money and they're holding my money and they're doing the trading and they're doing their mining and they're doing their thing, my risk is that company cannot pay me my money back, right? That to me would be a risk, right? If here I'm taking my BTC, which is an asset, and I'm buying another asset with it. So it's like basically like taking one asset, turning it into another asset that I own. How is that a risk? You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that's not really that risky. That's basically just taking one asset, buying another asset, and then, you know, taking that asset and selling it back to this asset, and then just keep doing that back and forth and just buying more assets. Like basically I'm taking one asset, getting another asset, then selling that asset back for this asset back for this asset. And I'm just doing that over and over and over and over and over and over again. But I'm always trading it for another asset, one or the way or the other. I'm never giving my money away and I'm never risking my money because I'm just turning it into something that I already own. Like I'm taking this asset and I buy this asset. I still own that. Like to me, that is the lowest risk versus reward I have ever seen in the home business arena. Like if you want to look at network marketing crypto companies, that is the least risk I can ever see. Like that is the least risk you can have because you are buying assets back and forth and you are controlling those and you're in the entire time they're yours, right? So that's my last thought there. You know, I appreciate you guys for plugging in and hopefully you got value from this. I just want to give you guys different perspectives because I think it's important that you guys understand that the risk here really isn't that big. And if you're so worried about the little tiny amount of Bitcoin you may be losing right now, just look at it more from a long-term standpoint. And are you really losing? Just think about it like that. Are you really losing? Right? And when these trades start closing, like I guarantee, like, I mean, obviously I can't ever guarantee anything, but I think 5-6 months from now, I'll be opening up my Bitrix account and it'll be like 1.5 Bitcoin or something. You know what I'm saying? And when I look at that, I'll be like, man, remember back in the day when we first started using that little bot and I did that video and I was showing you my 0.97 or whatever, and then I log back in 5 months from now and it's 1.5 or whatever. Will I be happy? Heck yeah, will I be happy? Who knows? 1.5 could be worth 20, 30K by then, right? So you never know. You never know. So with that being said, guys, appreciate you all. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, everybody who commented. And try to keep the group positive. I always strive to keep the groups positive, unless you have like some really, like if you have any like issues or things you don't understand or things that you think could be perceived as a negative, maybe just take that up line first, get your questions answered, and then before you post in the group. Because you got to remember, a lot of these things that you guys are unsure about, if you post it as a negative in the group, it's going to discourage people, especially when there's reasons for it. You know what I mean? Like if there's reasons there, it's that way, or there's positive reasons for it, then that you don't want to ever discourage anybody in the group, right? So always look for the positive in something and post the positive with the negative, and try not to be negative, period. Like, honestly, I never look at the negative in anything. And I always look for the positive in everything. I could be down on BTC, but guess what? I'm up in everything else, and I'm happy. Will the bot be worth it over the long haul? Let's hope so. If it's not, at least it's better than giving our money to someone else, right? And then having it completely risked, like where they could just fold and take all our money and run, and we're out everything, right? Like, I don't see that ever happening here. And I'm excited about it. So with that being said, appreciate you. See you in the next video. Bye for now.